But at this moment, I'm going to interrupt myself because NBC News can now project at this hour at 8:33 p.m., 7:33 Central Time, 8:33 in the East Coast, 7:33 Central Time, that former President Donald J. Trump will be the projected winner in the Iowa caucuses for the 2024 presidential
So there we go.
election.
We have the Iowa caucuses behind us and the New Hampshire primary looming later today. And we wanted to jump on and ask a simple question. Can he? Most people say no, but it's still worth looking at. And I think the important thing that needs to be noted to start off with is this is unlike any nominating process in many, many years. In fact, not since this guy in 1912 have we had a former president try to reclaim the White House. This is, of course, Teddy Roosevelt. And after leaving the White House and being out of power for 4 years, he wanted to come back. He could not gain the nomination from the Republican Party through the convention process. He ran as a third-party candidate and lost in a landslide to Woodrow Wilson. But there you go. I mean, this is the kind of film that existed when we last had something like that. The other thing that's important to look at is Iowa itself. It's not like normal contests. It's not determinative at all. In fact, in the entire history of the modern Iowa caucus process, only one Republican has won the caucus and gone on to win the presidency, and that was George Bush in 2000. That, of course, isn't a contested caucus, a truly contested caucus. On the Democratic side, it's happened twice, Jimmy Carter in 1976 and Barack Obama in 2008. So we've got those two facts, like something strange and a caucus that doesn't mean much. Now, let's also look here at the numbers from the Iowa caucus. Now, on the surface, you got what looks like a very big win for Trump. That's 51%. Anything above 50 is great in normal races. But Trump is kind of like an incumbent. He's like a near incumbent. So generally, incumbents don't even have to run in these primaries. They get waived and the party just, backs the candidate. And this suggests that there's this underlying weakness that we can't ignore, that even if Trump goes on to win New Hampshire today and the primary contest is over, this indicates a considerable number of Republicans that we can possibly pull over, Republicans and independents that don't like this guy. Now, the other thing is we have similar candidates that are like close to incumbents. Now we have an example of that, sitting vice presidents, for example. Now, here's the contest in Iowa from 2000. And you see Al Gore gets substantially more, 62%. And when you get over 60%, you're talking about, almost an uncontested situation. Now, there have been sitting vice presidents that have done worse. We have George H.W. Bush in 1988. Here he is getting only 18% and finishing third. He, of course, would go on to win this nomination. The important thing here is Pat Robertson, a televangelist, comes in second, really showing the power of the religious right in the Republican Party, which continues to this day. So we've got these two basic facts that Iowa is not determinative and that Trump didn't do as well as you might think. And then we've got this guy, okay? Worst candidate ever, right? Terrible. Bad at retail politics, bad at speeches. His ads were terrible. His strategy was terrible. And now he's out of the race. But he ate up a lot of oxygen. that might have allowed a real contest against Trump to develop. And the people who backed him seem to have slunk off into the distance. He's out of the race and he endorsed Trump. So the chance of that part of the party turning on Trump seems unlikely. So all we have standing between Trump and the nomination is this woman, Nikki Haley, or as Trump might think, Nancy Pelosi, but it is indeed Nikki Haley. Now, Nikki Haley, if we look at the actual polling, the latest polling, she does not look like she has much of a chance. Here you go. The average here. This is the Real Clear Politics average as of this morning. It's 19% behind. The latest poll has her 22 points behind, or Trump 22 points ahead. You want to look at that. And those numbers have been relatively unchanged for the last few days. It looked a little closer, a week ago, 10 days ago. But here's the thing. New Hampshire is not normal. It's got a huge swath of independent voters, and they don't like to be told how to vote. So we often have surprises in New Hampshire. There, of course, there's the famous one in 2008 when, after Barack Obama won the Iowa Caucus, it looked like he was going to win New Hampshire and basically wrap up the nomination right there. Polls suggested that's what was going to happen, but surprise, surprise, Hillary Clinton won, and it became a highly contested contest for the rest of that year. We also have the 2000 run on the Republican side, where you had John McCain polling about even, if I remember correctly, about even with George W. Bush, and then election rolls around and McCain wins by 19 percentage points. He did not, of course, go on to win the nomination that time. George W. Bush got his act together, won the South Carolina primary, and was able to put together wins after that to easily get the nomination. So here she is. Now, all the basic facts suggest that we will probably see her sometime within the next week or so dropping out of this race after losing as badly as these numbers suggest. She really would have no path. Now, some people suggest that if she has a close second, that might give her a path. The South Carolina primary, the next primary, is a month away, so that's a lot of time to build up momentum, especially in the modern political climate. But I tend to think either it has to be so close that we don't really know by 11 Eastern time or who's won, or she's got to win. I really think she has to win to make any chance at a real run at Trump. Now, it should be noted that Trump's never really gone one-on-one with the candidate. And Nikki Haley is a great contrast. That's one of the things you always want when you're running a campaign, is a contrast. And she couldn't be more of a contrast, in her style, in her background, gender, etc. So these are the numbers, and in all likelihood, what we're going to see is Nikki Haley giving a speech like this, saying, thanking supporters, and either dropping out tonight or in the next day or so. So tune in tonight and see whether, this candidacy is over or we have another month or more to go. So that's about all we have to say about this subject. You might want to check in the description, where we'll have some links if you want to do further research. And before you leave us, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We love your feedback. I'm sure there's lots you have to say about this subject and others. And while you're doing all that, why not you take a mosey on over to our website? Here you can link up to our other social media accounts. And of course, easily make a donation. Now, of course, these are just the suggested amounts. You can donate anything you like. And remember, we're much more agile than the larger PACs, so we can do things that they cannot do. And of course, we listen to your feedback, which those PACs don't have time or the inclination to do. So thank you so much for listening to all this. And before you go, you take a look at this.
Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Now, after last night's results, Trump and his Republican Party have lost the elections in 2017, in 2018, in 2019. Hold on, let's see. Does it end there? No, they lost also in 2020. They lost in 2021. There has to be a win for Republicans sometime soon because they keep going back to Donald Trump. Well, so maybe they won in 2020. No. Trump Republicans lost in 2022, and they lost in 2023.
It does seem like the Republican Party generally has a real problem with winning.